to share her sojourn with the other side. She has not had a near-death experience, but a remarkable connection. She's going to share that and how she came to write a book with her co-author, her mother, Betty Asher, who exists on the other side, across the veil, in the next room. Written together by initially enlisting interpretation through a psychic medium, the book takes us on a daughter's journey through learning eternal life lessons on forgiveness, on grace, on gratitude, and the limitless love of God. She lives in San Diego with her husband Tom and is passionate about mission work, especially helping women and children. She travels outside the United States to build homes and schools and feed the homeless. Thank you for joining us, Jane. Please welcome Jane Asher.
Thank you. That was a great introduction. Hang on, gotta soak in the love. Okay, this is good. Good crowd. Believe it or not, there's a lot of other people in here with us too. You can't see them, but they're here. Little known fact, or maybe you do know, but I just found out this evening that this actual building used to be a mortuary. Yeah, and the basement was the crematorium. So, welcome to all of you. I had no idea, and I walked in, I'm like, oh, this is going to be good. This place has good dead vibe, right? First, just thank you so much. I am beyond. I thought, gee, if I have 5 friends show up, I'll be good to go. But to me, time is an illusion, and at the same time, it's a gift. And for all of you to give me your gift of time to actually be here and listen to me go on about my story, it's very meaningful. And so I'm very, very grateful. So thank you so much for being here. Okay, I'm going to take off my little paper clip here. I want you to know I had to print in 24, so I didn't have to put my glasses on. They're here though, for safety's sake. Okay, I have personally never had an NDE, but I have quite a connection with those on the other side. As I like to say, kind of the next room. I feel like we're here, and then I feel like we're over here. And it just feels comforting to me. The story was written with my mother. It took quite a while to get around to doing it because I thought I was going to write a book, but I just had no idea about what it would be about and how to write a book. And so when everything kind of started coming to me, I was like, okay, am I losing my mind? What's happening here? And I just started opening up and accepting and receiving what was coming through. A little background. I'm the baby of 6, born and bred in Michigan. Yes, I grew up bowling. My town was so small, it's Deckerville, Michigan. My running joke about Deckerville is 800 people, 5,000 cows, 25 churches, 2 bars, and 1 blinking light at the corner of Main and Black River. So I grew up in this communal, these arms of love in this little small town, absolutely loved it. My mom fed my fascination. We were super buttoned down Lutheran, went to church every Sunday, marched in there, all the way up to the front on the right-hand side, like we were the Kennedys, always late, and we always went to church, but my folks didn't, they didn't judge me because I was always asking questions. I'm like, well, what about the Ice Age? And what about this? And how, how can there just be one God or one way to God, right? So they were very cool and pretty much embraced my curiosity. I was kind of an odd kid, but again, my mom was cool. I would go and take her silver tray out of her credenza, and I would look down into it because I could walk around and walk on the ceiling of our house. I would go upstairs and downstairs, and she didn't think anything of it. I started spying on the Deckers. Yes, there's a family of Deckers in Deckerville. 11 kids, so 11 half pints of ice cream in their freezer. Love the Deckers, but my favorite book was Harriet the Spy. So I'm peeking in the window at the Deckers, and they didn't think it was weird. I started doing things like checking out books from the library about how to move things with my mind. And my sister had given me a music box, and one day I was sitting in my favorite green chair downstairs, my reading chair, and all of a sudden I made it play music, and it kind of freaked me out. Hang on a second, I've got to have some water. So I was experimenting. I was like this very curious kid. And meanwhile, nobody thought it was weird. My mom got me a membership to Alfred Hitchcock Mystery Magazine. Yeah, right? It was so cool. It was a mystery magazine, and I was fascinated by it. So I would say, like, Mom embraced my unique side. So great. When I'm 18, I'm like, I am out of here. It is cold, there's snow, there's sleet, I don't dig it, I don't like to wear hats. And so I made the announcement. My dad's like, great, don't let the door hit you in the hind end. And then exactly 3 years later, when I made the declaration, I got a phone call from a very well-known radio guy in Michigan named Paul Christie. He's like, Jane, do you want a job in Santa Barbara, California? I've never been there, but I hear it's really pretty. And I'm like, yes. I get off the phone, I'm jumping on my bed, I call my mom and dad, she starts crying. He's like, well, there you go, you let the door hit you. So I stepped off the plane in Santa Barbara in 1983. The smell of eucalyptus, the Pacific Ocean whispering my name. I was like, the Purple Mountains I had only read about or saw on TV. I'm like, this is paradise. So I land this once in a lifetime gig at K-Tide. Awesome. Many of them are here tonight that I worked with. Shout out to K-Tide. And then shortly after I was there, I started doing a morning show with Terry James. Terry, always a seeker. Terry's like, okay, Jane, we're gonna have Pamela Osley on the air. And I'm like, who's Pamela Osley? He's like, she is a really well-known psychic medium. And I'm like, psychic medium? I mean, I'm from the Midwest, I don't know this. I'm like, this is a bunch of hooey. He's like, look, suspend your judgment, open up, and she's gonna be good radio. So great, we booked Pam, she comes on K-Tide. This is way before Google. She's live on the air. All she needed was hair color and eye color. And then she told her listeners astonishing things. She told them about windfalls of money. She told them about health issues they should look out for. She told them about their love life. And I was hooked. So of course, the next day, I call Pam. I'm like, I think I need to have a session. Could I come over to your house? Sure enough, she's like, yeah, come on over. So I get to Pam's house. First of all, take your shoes off. I'm like, from the Midwest, we wear boots in the house. Take off my shoes. Everything is white. She has white carpeting, white walls, white couch, white fuzzy cat. The only other color in her house is green. Lots and lots of plants. So great. So Pam begins to tell me about my aura colors. I'm like, oh, what the heck did I get into here? What is an aura color? So she explains to me my aura colors and what they are and what they mean. And then she looked right at me, because all I cared about, I was like 25 at the time, all I cared about was big job, big radio station in a big market. You know, I'm ready to get out of Santa Barbara. Boy, was I a fool. So she said, have you ever been to Chicago? And I'm like, Chicago? No. And remarkably, living in Michigan, I'd never been. And she's like, well, you're gonna go to Chicago. And I'm like, I'm not going back to the Midwest, it's cold back there. She said, no, you're gonna go back, you're not gonna be in radio, but you're gonna be in a business related to radio, and you're gonna be in the music business. And I was like, okay, so great. I leave her house, I'm like, Chicago. Crazy. Probably about, I'm a little fuzzy on the map, 2 weeks, maybe a month later, I I get a call from Virgin Records of Los Angeles. Michael Plant and Jeffrey Nolling. They call me and they're like, Asher, we want to talk to you about a gig doing promotion and marketing. And the job is in Denver. And I'm like, okay, I heard Denver's pretty. I'm up for a challenge. Drive down to LA, I have dinner with the guys. They offer me the job on the spot, you know, and good money. I drive back to Santa Barbara, I'm giggling the whole way going, her tuner is way off. Chicago, my fanny, I'm going to Denver. The next morning, they called and said, hey, we think you're a good enough candidate for a bigger market. How would you feel about being promotion marketing director in Chicago? I was like, called Pam. I said, guess where I'm moving? She just calmly said, Chicago. So that's Pam. We meet. Flash forward, Pam, we remained really good friends. She's now on a book tour. So I have her come to Chicago. She stays with me in my apartment. And I know Pam is like, she's kind of a clear channel. She doesn't drink alcohol, doesn't drink caffeine, coffee, obviously no drugs or smoking or any of that. But I knew I didn't want to screw her up, and I knew she had a book talk. And so in the morning, she's in my spare bedroom, and I'm in my kitchen, and I'm staring at my coffee machine. I'm like, oh, I would kill to have a cup of coffee, but I don't want to screw this woman up. She's got to go chat with people. From my spare bedroom, she goes, it's okay, Jane, you can have a cup of coffee. I'll just tune out. So that was the kind of gift that she had. Okay, so which brings me now to the pivot of why I'm standing here and why the fabulous Barbara Bartolome asked me to speak to you. Had to give you a little background. I'm a podcaster, I'm now an author, and I was thrilled when Barbara said, hey, you should come speak to the IANDS group. And I've never personally had a near-death experience, but this is also an experience where you're diving deeper into other things. It's not just about NDEs, although that is a big part of it. So the person with whom I have had an indelible bond with my whole life died in 2010. It was September 31st. Wait, what? 30 days half September, right? All those years ago when I moved out from Michigan to California, my mother had given me a calendar. And she didn't want me to lose my close contact with all of, the family and everything. And she wrote on the boxes birthdays and anniversaries, so I'd make a phone call or send a card. The day she died, after I let out a guttural scream that I've never since repeated, I immediately went in, I was in shock, I think. I went into, oh my God, I gotta book my flight, I gotta get home. I grabbed the calendar off the back of the door, I'm calling Delta, I'm flipping back and forth, and I'm like, okay, it's the 31st. Her funeral's the 3rd, I gotta get home, and they're like, Mrs. Rainey, there is no September 31st. I'm like, what? So my husband basically thinks that because my mother gave that calendar to me, and how does Hallmark screw it up and add an extra day, that my mom kind of slipped into the next room on a day that doesn't really exist. So every time it rolls around, which we're almost there, we get up to, and it's kind of cool because it's September 30th, and then it's the 1st, but then there's that little space of time where I get to honor my mom. And I absolutely love it. So my mom passes away. She and my dad were married 62 years, best friends. And it wasn't all rainbows and unicorns, but they had a pretty good gig. He was so sad. He was just wandering around the house, and he had been living with my oldest sister and her husband, and we needed to get him out of the snow. We needed to get him out of the cold. We had to shock him. He wasn't into going back to Florida without her. So great. He comes out, moves in with me, great, for a month. He's 84 at the time, and a little bit of he's a little hard to handle. Love you, Dad. So he comes out, so one morning, get the kids off, they're out the door, going to school, Tom's at work, and he comes out and he goes, hey, I want to talk to your friend. And I said, Dad, I've got a lot of friends, you're gonna have to be more specific. And he goes, the one that does seances and stuff. that one. I said, Pam? You want to talk to my friend Pam? He's like, yeah, I really want to talk to her. And I'm thinking, I don't know what you think she can do for you. You're 85 years old, you're not gonna, get a job, and he's like, I just really have to talk to her. So he was adamant that Pam had some kind of holy grail message for him. So I called Pam. I'm like, I'm sorry, but my grieving dad really wants to have a chit chat with you. She's like, absolutely, Jane, no problem. I'll talk to him. So I set him up in the backyard. Give him my landline, give him an ice water. It's a February, sun-streaked February, just beautiful. I say, Pam, this is Don. Don, this is Pam. Keep in mind, my dad and mom, they didn't even have an email address. They had no computer. There was no way to find out anything about Don and Betty Asher anywhere. There was no footprint. So he's chatting, and I go in to prep dinner, and then I'm like, oh man, it's been like 20 minutes. I go around, I peek around the side, he's still on the phone. I'm like, what? Oh my God, my friend, what did I do? My poor friend is stuck with this 84-year-old grieving man. And I kept peeking around, he's on the phone. I mean, it was literally close to an hour. Finally, I can see that they've hung up. And I walked out there, and tears are streaming down his little sun-kissed cheeks. And I'm like, oh, Jane, what'd you do? I like, Dad, I'm so sorry. I thought I was helping, but I can see I intensified your grief. And he's like, no, she was here. And I'm like, what? Who was here? Your mother was here. Come on, we gotta go listen. He hops up, and my dad, who no longer moved fast, we're talking a couple knee replacements, he's in his 80s. He starts bolting across my living room like he's running a 50-yard dash. Come on, we gotta go out in the studio. She's sending a recording. I'm like, what? Because I knew Pam as like a psychic. I never really connected the medium side to our friendship, and she really doesn't promote that because a lot of interesting things happen when you promote the medium side. So we run out. Sure enough, she had emailed us a copy of the phone call, and we sat there, tears and laughter, and we listened to my mom give my dad very, very specific information. Very specific about the family, about their life together, about everything, and about her crossing, and he was so enthralled, and it was like I had given him 25 sessions with a grief counselor. And I am no way saying that a psychic medium is preferable to going to your pastor or going to a grief counselor. I'm not saying that, but in my dad's case, it was remarkable, and it really, really helped him. So what are you gonna give an 84-year-old guy who just lost his best friend of 62 years? What do you give him for Christmas, for his birthday? You give him a phone call to his wife. So every year after that, I would gift him, either at Christmas or his birthday. He called it Calling Mom. And he was so excited. He always wanted to do it around April because he wanted to wish her happy birthday. So every year, and then Pam would record the sessions. I would burn them off on CD, send them to him, and he listened to them in his car on heavy rotation. It was like he was obsessed. But it was so good for him, and I have all these recordings. So now, I've got these recordings. I'm thinking to myself, wow, Pam has a main line to my mom. How interesting is this? And I have all these recorded sessions. So it gets deeper. So now I start thinking, well, if she can talk, or Dad can talk to Mom, I should probably maybe have a chat with Mom. So, and I was in my own way, but not really. So shortly after my mother crossed, I started finding dimes, and I mean everywhere. I find them in the church parking lot. I find them at Target. And I didn't equate them with my mother at all. I was just like, okay, cool. I'm always one of those kids that would bend down, pick up a dirty penny. I'm down, now it's a dime, rock on. Leading up to Halloween, I was working at Kixie in San Diego, and the program director thought it'd be a good idea to have a psychic medium come on the air and connect people with their loved ones. So great, I'm like, okay, this will be good radio. And as much as I wanted to talk to her about mom and my grief and have her do a reading for me, I knew she was there to do a job. So we spent a week together. It was good radio. At the end of the week, Marissa Ryan's her name, she's in Los Angeles. She said, Jane, I don't know what the deal is, but your mother is sending you dimes. I don't know what the significance is, but please know every time you find one that they're from her. So I'm like, okay, that's so cool. Go home, tell my husband, he's like, we gotta collect them. Get a little velvet bag, boom, dime, boom, dime. My daughter's finding them, my son's finding them. Every friend I tell about, they find them, they take a picture and then say, hi Betty, send it to me. So now all my friends are finding them. So I'm loving it. So I now have I know it's from my mom, but I still don't know why. So have you ever had a dream come flooding back, like in the middle, like a dream recall, where it just kind of comes over you, and you're like, oh wow. So I was putting a happy package together for Big Don. It was his birthday. He loves his birthday more than Christmas, and you have to fuss over him or he gets really butthurt. So big box, licorice and Mother's Taffy cookies and cards from everybody in the family, including our old lab. And I go to Office Depot, my preferred shipping spot, because the post office can be a pain. And I'm standing there at the counter and getting ready to ship this box, and all of a sudden, this dream just goes boom, and I had to hang on to get my equilibrium. And in the dream, my beautiful mother is sitting on the edge of my bed, and I prop myself up, and I say, Mom, what is the deal with the dimes? And she goes, I like to see you smile. And that was it. It wasn't some big message. It was so direct and so straightforward, just like her. So I'm so excited. I pay Wesley, I thank him, I'm ready to go, and I pivot, and I go to leave the store, and right down at the toe of my right foot is one freaking shiny dime. I bend down, I get it, I'm like, oh my God, Mom, you'd like to see me smile. I'm walking through the store, and they're like, everybody's like, oh, get a load of the crazy lady with the dimes. Just the greatest. So that's the dimes. Other than the dimes, the other incredible thing that my mom did after she crossed, oh, this is so beautiful, and it's only happened the one time. Her best friend, Ruthie Schlang, great lady. Ruthie and Bob were just a huge help to us after Mom crossed and kept coming over for cocktails and to chat with Dad, and it was really nice. So I flew home to see my dad, pick up my big sister Lynn. We hightail it up to Gaylord. She's like, we should have the Schlangs over for cocktails. I'm like, great idea. Schlangs come over, Bob and Ruth. Bob and Lynn and Dad go in the living room, sit, do some male chat. Lynn loves her guys. I'm in the kitchen with Ruth, all alone. And I said, Ruthie, I just want to tell you my mom loved you. And thank you so much for being such a great support system for me. And we were leaning over the kitchen island with our elbows, and we were holding hands and looking right at her. And Ruthie has like these beautiful hazel eyes, and my mom's eyes are the color of a Michigan spring day. And I'm holding her hands, and I'm saying, oh, my mom loved you. And all of a sudden, vroom, vroom, vroom. Through Ruth's eyes was a pulsating blue light. And I'm like, oh my God, I don't want to say anything because I'm going to freak her out, but this is so freaking cool. I can't believe this is happening. Oh my God, oh my God. And I kept looking at it, and then finally I said, Ruthie, you don't have blue eyes. She goes, stop it, Jane, you're freaking me out, it's your mom. She spun around, and then they faded back to Hazel. I explained everything, threw in the sound effects for good measure, because, and I knew at that point that my mother was saying to me, I can see you. I have to use my best friend's eyes to deliver the message. So that was the coolest, and she hasn't done it again. I don't know if it was a one-off party trick or what, but sure would love it again. So, let's see. Did I just do up that? Oh, there we go. So I have the dimes. I've got this metaphysical manifestation through her eyes, Ruthie's eyes. And I start collecting everything. I'm writing everything down, and I'm telling everybody I'm writing a book. Well, I really wasn't. I, A, didn't know how to write a book, or B, how was I gonna do this? So it was like a puzzle. It was 2 laptops, it was handwritten letters, it was all these notes and all of this information I was gathering, but I wasn't doing anything with it. And I kept talking about it and talking about it and talking about it. And then finally, COVID hit, and I was doing social media in my other life. And I said to my husband, I lost a big client, and I said, what the heck am I gonna do? How am I gonna make money? He said, you're gonna write your flippin' book. So at that point, we got a dog, which was great. We got a COVID dog, she's amazing. And I started doing these metaphysical, mindful smells of the neighborhood and just getting quiet and peaceful. And I got a hold of Pam, and at the same point that I got a hold of Pam, my big sister, Lynn, who I absolutely adore, about 6 years after my mom died, Lynn crosses over, complications with cancer. It sucked. So I'm back home, I'm at her funeral, I'm freaking out, I get on a plane, I start asking Lynn, I'm writing Lynn a letter on the plane, like, how do I write this book, and how do I ask Mom to help me? And it was like a lightning bolt. My big sister, no BS, straight through me, said, you're gonna ask your friend Pam to help you write this book. And so the plane lands, I call Pam, I'm like, Pam. Lynn said that you would help me, blah, 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 and I'm going on, and she's like, slow down, what's going on? I said, I want to write this book, but I don't know if I can hear my mom like as clearly as you can. And she said, sure, I'll help you. So I started having regular sessions with Pam, and we recorded everything, and I would ask her things that I cared about. I asked her about her crossing. I asked her about God. I asked her about the afterlife. I asked her about forgiveness. All the things I cared about, and as we would record them, I would listen to the sessions and then write everything down, write everything down, write everything down. So we continued to do this, and then finally one day, I thought I had the book. I called, and Pam said, what do you need? And I said, well, I don't want to ask Mom any more questions, but I want to know if I have this right. I've got part 1, I got part 2, I got part 3. And she goes, okay, Betty, all right, okay, I'll tell her. Your mother says you do not need me to write this book, that you two have been in communication since the day she crossed, and if you will just get quiet, which could be a dig at the fact that I do like to talk, and listen, that you will be able to hear her and deliver these messages. So that's kind of what got the party started, but my dad really brought it forth. And then my sister gave me, here she is in the next room, Lynn just saying, okay, you've got to do this, and you've got to ask Pam to do it. And so I just kind of buried myself in the studio. It's COVID, nobody's going anywhere. I'm barefoot, barely wore a bra, and just hung out and was in the studio. And my husband would come out, and I have this little teeny studio, and he'd come out and I'd put my hand up, I'd be sobbing, right? Just sobbing, writing, sobbing, writing. He'd come out and he'd just slide some dark chocolate on the board, and I'd go, all right, shut the door now, you can go. But it really was one of those, at first I thought I was kind of going crazy, and then as I was receiving the messages from my mom, I would read it back, and I would say, well, that's not me. That's not how I phrase things. That's not how I think. I'm not that elevated. I'm human. It's not me. It was her. And she was like, of course not. It's me. I've never left your side. I just changed energy forms. So it's kind of what it is. And I love the best part, I think, and the thing that I can leave you with, and I'm going to keep this short because I think that it's more fun that way. We come from love, and we return to love. And that is the best message that I can give you. Doesn't matter what you believe or what you maybe don't believe, that is the truth. It is just love. So it really gives an ease to it, and we need to talk more about it, and we need to connect. And there's just a myriad of ways that we can connect. They connect through music, they connect through nature, they connect through leaving you coins and feathers. And you can sit there and be all logical and go, that's not them. Or you can choose to believe. And I choose to believe because it just makes life so much more fun. It's just a beautiful way to think about things. So I just want to thank everybody. I was worried at first about this topic, and then she said, get out of your own way. And her other message for me was, just expand without fear. And just get out there and do what you do, because what you do is meaningful and you have a purpose. And I do believe this now through doing the podcast and now writing this book. I have met the most extraordinary people, and all of you included. It's just such a gift to be open and have people come up to you or send you emails from Melbourne, Australia, and just say, you've changed my life. You know, I just lost my husband, or you know, my grandmother, or whatever. And people are reaching out at a remarkable rate. And that's why I love death. I think it's as groovy as birth. I think we gotta talk about it. We gotta peel back the old Band-Aid and just have fun with it, because it's okay. We're here. And then guess what, kids? We're over here, just in the next room. So thanks so much. If you have any questions, I'm open, and that's pretty much all I have for you. I think I got out of sequence, but... Anybody?
Maybe I should just make a comment. We don't have another microphone, so when you're comfortable, I think you should keep it.
Okay.
You don't just speak up for your question, and you take the question, take your time answering the questions.
Yo, in the back. Mark Keenan, ladies and gentlemen. Personally know him, love him.
Well, first of all, the book's great, and the book's the way that Jane talks. So, I've known Jane forever, and I heard about this book, and I was a little worried because I hadn't talked to her in a while, and I thought, oh my God, she's gone airy-fairy on me. It's still the same old Jane. So that's what's great about the book. There's a million questions I could ask, but the first third is very personal about the whole family.
Right.
Did you go to siblings and aunts and uncles and kind of have them sign off on it? Has there been any?
Yeah, that's a very good question. And I did some research, and I thought, I want to use their names. I don't want to change their names. So I did. I contacted all 5 siblings. Lynn, of course, is in the next room, but I checked in with her husband and her son, and they were like, yeah, we're good. You can write Dear Lynn. And her Cal, who's married to Lynn, who's no longer here, Cal, who hasn't read a book in probably 45 years, called me, and Cal's like super buttoned down, just like really conservative, you know, watches Fox, which fine, it's all good. But you know, we you know, it's Cal, and he's 80, and he called me and flipped out. Like, it was really lovely. He read it in 2 sittings, and so yeah, I got everybody's permission. Everybody was cool using their names, and I was pretty, I think, very generous with each one of their personalities. I didn't say all the bad stuff. So that'll be book 2, right? Tell on all of them. So yeah, great question, Mark. Yes? Oh, right here in the back.
Could you talk a little bit more about your process for getting quiet and hearing her voice and what that's like? And I'm just interested in that, right? Just wondering.
Yeah, that's really good. I open up. I sit. First of all, I take a meditative walk with my dog. I always listen to the same soundtrack. Ludovico Einaudi. He's an Italian pianist. He's it's transcendent, his music. And it puts me in this space. So as I'm wandering with this COVID dog who's spoiled rotten, letting her smell everything, I would just kind of be there and I would ask, and I run down every single person that I have ever came in contact with in my life on this side that is now in the next room. And I do shout outs. And the list is really long. And if I forget someone, they come bolt. They come in and just like, hello, you forgot me, I'm Roger Mayer. And like before I came here today, I did the same thing. I talked to every person in radio from this market because we've lost a lot. And I asked for their help. And I said, you better show up tonight. I need to be clear, concise. I don't want to bore the pants off these people. I need some good communication skills. So I ask for help. I get quiet, I ask, and then when I go back to my studio, I have a teeny little studio, it's like 10 by 8 or whatever. I shut the door, I light a candle that smells like Santa Barbara. It's eucalyptus and lavender. And I throw my arms up and I ask. I ask for all the spirits, and those that I know and those that I don't know. And I'm talking tap into Wadsworth, tap into your favorite writers, tap into your favorite poets. Ask for guidance. And I am telling you, when you start getting that tingly rush, my pastor would call it the Holy Spirit tingle, it's remarkable. It just happens, and then you get that little then I knew I was in the space of receiving. And once I did that, I'd open up my laptop and it just came through. I didn't even have to effort it at all. I was like, okay, this is really fun. I like this writing thing. So it's all I want to do now. So good for you. I'll give you my information. Give me a jingle. Call on the blower, I'll help you out. It's fun. It's really fun. Anybody? Oh, yes.
So I'm curious, you say that you wrote the book with your mother.
I did.
Is it mostly then your mother speaking to you about what? What's she talking about?
Boy.
Life here, life there, what is she?
Yes, I'm very curious, so I wanted to know what she was up to. I wanted to know, she's expanded, like her energy's really expanded. I wanted to know about the strife that were going on the planet. I wanted to know about what the heck is this 2020 all about, COVID? And what are we learning about the planet being on fire? I wanted to know about forgiveness, which she said, it is for giving to yourself. There's no need for forgiveness if you're for giving. So all kinds of just little nuggets, but you know, it kind of goes, there's 4 parts. So the 4th part is when, as she said, take off the shoes, go barefoot, stop trying to make it fit like Cinderella or squeezing the hose, just allow it to come. Part 4 is just myself and my mother, which I was filled with dread. Because who am I? I'm just a girl. I'm a girl who loved her mom, and I got nothing special. You know, I opened up and I received it, and it's my truth, and if people want to call BS on me, I don't care. That's all good. You do you, I'll do me, and I'm really happy. So, yeah. Anybody else? Come on. Yes, dear.
What was one of the best things that she told you, her lessons? One of your favorite?
I think probably the most meaningful was the fact that we do not need to be afraid of anything. We don't have to live in fear about our politics, policies, the planet, what your neighbor's up to or isn't up to. Just stay in your own lane. And that's not to say stick your head in the sand by any stretch. She really advocates doing things that you believe in. You know, if there's a young politician that you like his policies on saving the planet, throw him some bones if you've got the extra bones. So she was very much about that, but also It is not your job to try to change, educate, or bend anyone to how you feel. And I said, well, if I don't talk to people, how are they gonna find the book? And she's like, you don't have to worry about it. The right people have already found it. And you know that to be true. And it is absolutely the truth. She told me I was gonna do book talks. You know, I mean, really, and people are receiving it in the light and the love that it was written. So I think that's a good question, Barbara. Thank you. Anyone else? Yes,
Would you talk a little bit more about love?
about love?
Love itself? I mean, you know, there's lots of different expressions of it. There's gratefulness,
Right.
there's forgiveness, there's, you know, we can love music, we can love people, we can love life. How do we deepen that sense of where it comes from and how to channel it better in our life?
I say you just be. You be love. If you are the embodiment of what it is, because whatever it is you believe, and a lot of people don't believe in God and the whole puffy clouds thing and St. Peter, and there is no blame or shame, any of that. That just toss that out. That's not happening. Love is what you are right now, sitting there. You are love. That's all you need to know. You're love now. You're going to return to love. It's all love. It's so good. It's all love. Yes, back in the white.
Have you opened up your mediumistic capacities and given a message from your mom to anyone else from the other side?
Well,
Well,
interesting. I don't want to hang out a shingle and say I'm doing the psychic medium thing because I really don't feel that that is my path. However, I'm in all these groups, and I'm in one where you practice, and there's a lot of people that post their pictures, and they'll say, "What are you getting?" And so a gal posted the other day, and I just felt really compelled to tell her what I felt. And I said, wow, you would give the shirt off your back, you bust your butt, you help everybody, you put everybody before yourself, you need to take care of yourself, you have to stop doing that, you're really powerful, but you're not leaning into yourself. And she sent me back a message and said, okay, that's kind of spooky, and thanked me and said that was right on. So I dabble and have fun with it, but that's about the extent of it. I'm certainly not going there. Pamela Osley has got the corner on the market there. Yes?
Now that you've opened yourself up to this communication with the spirit world, has any other teachers shown up for you besides your mother?
Oh, good question. Really good question. Okay, so I have a dear friend that I met here in Santa Barbara, and her name was Debbie Budge, and she was on the air here for years. And Budgie gave me the name of the book and the podcast because she and I would sit and have these deep spiritual existential chats, you know, at night on the phone. And one day she just said, Jane, we're just here, and then we're here in the next room. And I love that. I love that she gave me that. So I was pretty stressed out, and when I get bummed out after someone dies, I put together playlists. It soothes me. I sit in the garage, I cry, I look at pictures of them, and I pull all these songs that make me think of the person that has left to go to the next room. Because I grieve just like the next guy, even though I know it's all good. It's still sad to miss the physicality. And I'm talking to Budge, and I'm bawling. And I had been listening to Ludovico Einaudi, and I'm crying and blah, 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 blah. And all of a sudden, my music switched over to the Eagles' Take It Easy. You know, and I started laughing, and I'm like, okay, Budge, I got it, message received. So yeah, it seems like the more that I ask for directions from those that have gone, I know immediately where it's coming through. Like a grandfather I've never met was, he used to work on washers and dryers, and my washer's been kind of temperamental when it gets hot. But if I say, okay, Jimmy, I'm gonna do a load of laundry, I need your help, it starts right up. If I don't ask for Jimmy's help, I gotta sit there, I gotta go unplug the sun, you know. Gotta press a button for 10 seconds, then I gotta go plug it back in. So yeah, I just keep asking for other people to help. And my dad now, you know, he stuck the landing. He lived for 91 years, 91 really good years. Lived right up until, boop, see ya. Great peaceful passing for the big guy. And now he comes back, and you know, before he died, we would have these conversations. I'd say, all right, big guy, you gotta send me a message. You know, what are you gonna do? And he's like, I'll be a butterfly. My dad, 240, right? 6'3", beast of a man. The fact that he's gonna be the most delicate, floating little insect, and you know, send me that message. And so we laughed so hard, I swear I almost wet myself. And we thought that was so funny. Do you know that he does that? I mean, I have monarchs everywhere. I was in my friend's backyard and one floated in. I mean, I see him all the time, and I know it's not manifestation of my dad. He is not the butterfly. He's just sending me the butterfly to say, hey, Janie girl, I gotcha. How you doing today? And I always say, hi, Dad. So, yeah, it's fun. Anybody? Yeah? Yes?
So in this other room, does your mother communicate with, you know, family members that have passed and friends, and they all know each other and
Oh
they
yeah,
hang out together?
immediately. Yeah, the way that she described her crossing is that it was like this massive reunion. People that she didn't even remember showed up. And she's like, oh yeah, I know you from 9 lifetimes ago. But huge reunion, and then once you're there and you kind of get your sea legs, so to speak, you're off. You're off on whatever path that you need to be on for your soul's evolution. So you're there, I mean, we're here, this is Earth School, right? And if you're kind of a crappy person while you're here, you're probably gonna have to, you know, figure things out, you know, as you go. But so do the best you can while you're here and learn as much as you can and be open, and because, you know, I like the evolution thing. I like, you know, getting better. So yeah, she explained it all, and she said that her actual crossing was the most euphoric, beautiful thing that had ever, like, she said she could remember that she had done it before, but she had forgotten about it, and that when she left, it was like floating and flying and so beautiful. And she felt it was impolite because she literally died in my dad's arms in her living room. After fighting back from heart surgery and everything, she got to come home, be in her own home, which she orchestrated, and then she died. And she thought it was impolite to leave my dad, but then once she realized, like, all right, I'm going home, she totally let go, and she said it was the best feeling ever. She absolutely loved it. And she got to see everybody.
So there's a greeting in the beginning, but I'm wondering, does that continue? Is there like relationships up there?
You can cross over the way my mother has described it. Great question. She can run into my dad anytime she chooses. And they do so often when the families gather to be together to celebrate, because they had 6 kids, they've got, I don't know, 13 grandkids, they got 9 greats. So there's a lot of familia stuff. But she said, I am on my own journey and your father is on his. So, you know, he's off doing whatever he's supposed to be doing. She's doing what she's doing, but they can cross anytime. Anytime you want, you can connect.
Does she mention how big this space is?
It's infinite. It is, here's what I love this part too. Okay, so here's our little teeny universe, and we think, oh, we're so special, we're these human beings, and we're so smart. Oh my gosh, there are just billions upon billions. We haven't even crossed over. There's so many galaxies and so many different entities and different life forms, but you are there with the whole big party. That's great. Yes.
Has there been any talk about how soon your mom and others in the family will be coming back into physical body?
Oh boy. Yes. And this is difficult for me to wrap my pea brain around because I don't understand it. She told me that her energy is already incarnate in 2 other places on the planet. And here's Jane, do I know them? She's like, no you don't. And I'm like, I don't get it. How does your energy split? And she said, it doesn't. Just sit on that for a minute. So it's beyond me right now. A lot of it is so beyond me, and I'm trying to get out of my own way and get bigger with my thought. But my brain's not that big. I'm trying. Yes, Francie.
Yeah, what about dreams? Do you feel like you have visitors in your dreams?
All the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I dig it. There's a difference between a dream and a visitation. A dream will come and it's gone. A visitation, you will remember every single detail of that visit from your loved one. Everything, to what they're wearing, to the things they've told you, to the messages they've shared with you. So yes, that's a really good one, because when we're relaxed and we're in that state where we're just sort of like, we're between, hustling, bustling, paying bills, going to work, yada, yada, and then you relax, you can travel. You can travel. You can get out of your body and go have a party and hang out with people. So they can come to you, and many times will visit you in that form. So it's pretty cool. Doesn't happen all the time. Visitations are super groovy, but they don't always happen. So, yeah, way in the back with the hat.
Hi.
Hi.
Do you have any knowledge at this point in time as to how long she can continue to connect with you? Is time there in any way linear? Is it like you could be, like you said, incarnated here in different forms, still be connected with you for the rest of your life? What's your sense of that?
What she's shown me is that time is just nothing. I mean, there is no time. It's just something that we did. It's a man-made construct to keep us on schedule, to pay our bills on time. But it doesn't exist. It's not, so there's no limit. Like she's not gonna bail on me. I can bring her in anytime I want. Although I get busy with life and, and then I get a reminder, so, yeah. Okay.
Jane?
Yes, oh, Christopher.
You believe in reincarnation?
I do.
In association with what you're saying 2 or 3 back, to the energies, the people who are reincarnated, do they have to ever come to you in their new personification, in their new life, directly?
I love that.
You were talking about your mother and how
Right.
she's manifest in a couple
Yeah.
places, and you said, do I know them?
Yeah.
Of course you did, but
Yeah, no, that is such a cool question. I'm gonna have to work on that for book 2.
yeah.
No, I don't, wow, I don't even know. I've never
Talk to
even
you about
had
it
that
later,
thought.
'cause I've had a couple where that's
I'm in.
indisputable.
Good. Oh, I like that. Yeah, there are a lot of people that have come back that I do know that are like, oh my gosh, that person is so-and-so. Absolutely. Same mannerisms, same vibe. And I've been interviewing a lot of fascinating people about that, that they have unbelievable proof that it is someone that they knew that left, that now came into a new soul.
Right, and could that possibly be the manifestation that your mother has in other people?
Absolutely. I
and
love it.
that's what you're getting, is her
Good.
vibe through
Oh,
that.
she comes back as a grandkid.
Yeah.
That'd be so cool. I could spoil her again. I love it. Bring it on. I know I didn't want to drag this out, but I'm down to answer any questions. Yes.
What are some of your goals for the future?
What are my personal goals?
Yes.
I just really hope that I can continue to do this, to talk to people. I'll go anywhere. I'll go to the opening of an envelope. Just to have some fun, to expand consciousness, to have those deep conversations. I think it's just the most intriguing thing ever. I don't want you to talk to me about the weather unless there's another development somewhere else on another planet. I just really want to continue doing what I'm doing. And I am working on, well, 3 books right now, but they're all very different. So I'm writing, and I love my podcast. I have a podcast that I do, so if you dig listening to podcasts, please sign up. It's all good. And I cover every facet of death with the podcast, not just afterlife. You know, actually I had a guy on who I absolutely love. He's one of my best friends. And he's a good sized atheist. And it was such a good interview. I'm like, all right, Max, what happens when you go? He's like, fade to black, Jane, done, game over. I'm like, okay, Max, when I go and you go, I'm gonna come find you. And he just burst out laughing. He just thought that was the greatest thing ever. So I just think it's fascinating. I love anybody. I honor anybody's views. I'm not here to try to change anybody. I think that we all have free will, and whatever gets you through the night, it's all good.
All right.
Yeah, all right. Yes, wait, right there, and then you pipe down.
You touched on it a little bit, but you talked about love and so on, but what was your mom's, and I don't want it to be a total spoiler alert, but what was her response when you asked her about God?
God she used the term God because she knew, being raised a nice little Lutheran kid, that that's what I was most comfortable with. So she would use that as a term, but the closest thing that she said that she felt God is love, which is in the Bible. And that really helps. So anyone that doesn't believe in God, and I get it because it's a hard concept for a lot of people to wrap their heads around, but who doesn't love love, right? Who doesn't love love? So that's about it. She just said that's all it is. It's like a big, bold, gooey, unbelievable sense of just belonging, really deep. Yes, hi, Lauren.
Did she say that she had any knowledge of the future?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, but she, in all fairness, she won't tell me about, I've asked her. She's like, that's cheating. That's cheating. You can't do that. But yeah, she can see what's going on. She said that what we're experiencing right now, just so everybody can settle down, it's gonna be okay. Everything's a shift. No matter what you believe in or what kind of politics you have, it's all to move us forward. It's all about consciousness and pushing us forward, no matter what it is. You may go, that's heinous. Oh my God, I can't stand XYZ. It's okay. It's how they are interpreting their journey to move us forward in this time-space continuum. So it's okay. Yeah, so the future's bright. I don't know about world peace. I did ask her about that, and she said, possibly not in my lifetime, for sure. But that's a pretty big concept. But there is plenty of peace when you go. Yes, Liz?
Did she say we should all reduce our plastic use?
Oh, we talked all about the planet. We do a whole thing on she said that the planet was breathing, that the whole COVID thing, as horrible as it was, and we lost so many people, and it was quite sad and debilitating. However, the planet was like rejoicing, and it was just one of those moments. So yes, she's really into the environment again. She said, if you care about it, get behind it.
Do something.
Absolutely.
That's my only concern is people thinking, oh, everything's okay.
No.
I still think you have to act.
Oh, absolutely. It's not about, it's not about going, oh, everything's great, we're all gonna die, it's all good. No, you do what you need to do to make your life, your children, if you're blessed to have them, and your grandkids or whatever, or your neighbor, or your best friend or whatever, you choose to do something to help elevate your life, and in turn, you're gonna elevate their life, right? So if you're passionate about something, get on it. Yes, oh, okay, yeah. Wait, how about way in the back? Oh, yes.
Thank you. So, did she has she talked at all about the veil and why we need to forget things like what it's like to transition and what it's like in the next room?
She didn't say there was any kind of forgetting at all.
No?
None. No, she said, I said, what about mistakes we've made? She's like, Jane, a mistake is when you inadvertently put salt in a recipe that calls for sugar. There are no mistakes. You don't, that's not happening. She said, you will have what many refer to as a life review, but it's not a judgment. It's not like, oh, you were really an a-hole to that person. And boy, oh boy, you did X, Y, Z. It's not like that. You just get to have an overview, good, bad, indifferent, of things so that you can see what you did while you were here and had your life experience so that you can elevate and move on.
But I mean more like how you said that she didn't remember what it was like to transition until she was transitioning.
Right.
Why do we have to forget that while we're here having this
Oh.
experience?
Or forget past lives.
Yeah, I don't know. I think some people do. She said that some people remember, but a lot of it is to protect you, to protect your journey while you're here. So, because if you didn't, you'd really be living in the past. Think about it. I really liked that past life when I had lots of money. When I was the mayor of Santa Barbara. So, I don't know. I don't have all the answers, that's for sure. All I know is what I've been told. Way in the back, striped shirt.
This has been really wonderful and encouraging.
Aw, thank you.
I'm wondering two things. How do I find your podcast?
Okay.
Do you have a website?
I do. I like you. I need a new agent. What are you doing after this meeting? Okay, it's super easy. It's janeasherrainey.com. I'm independently published, so you can find my podcast through there. My podcast is everywhere you get your podcast. It's called The Next Room. So you can get it. It's on Apple. It's on Stitcher. It's on, I don't know, all of the usual suspects. You can get it everywhere. I have a really great new network that has a bookstore now, and so just Google The Next Room. And I also, because I independently published, I also took it up a level because a lot of people don't like the beast, Amazon. And so I did it so that you can actually go to a Chaucer's and say, would you order me The Next Room? And they will. They don't have it on stock because I'm, independent. But they'll order it for you, call you when it's in. So you can do that. You can do it whatever store that you like. They'll do that for you.
Or through you, right?
Or through me, yes, through my website. And I send out each one. I mail it with a little thank you note. I not only autograph them, but I took my mom's signature, because she is my co-author, and I had it turned into a stamp. And so Betty Asher signs it too. So, yeah, and that's really fun. I was like, yeah, Mom. She gave me that idea. I thought you didn't have an ego in the next room. Yes, you in the back.
Are you familiar with Ruth Montgomery's writings? Because this is sounding, very similar.
I am not, but I will remember that.
Check it out. I read her like 30 years ago. And it's
Wow.
mind meld what you're saying. Ruth Montgomery and of course Edgar Casey. And,
Oh yeah, Edgar Casey, of course.
But Ruth Montgomery was a cohort or a follower.
Awesome.
Very similar.
Awesome, I will check that out. I will absolutely check it out. Yes, Mary Ellen.
Thank you, that was wonderful.
Thank you.
I want to say that I was looking through Amazon, sorry about that. I saw that you have an audio book.
I
And
do.
you read the prologue. Did you read the whole book?
I read the whole book.
Oh, right.
Hardest voiceover I've ever done in my entire life. It sucked. It was really difficult. Because Amazon or Audible has all of these rules and it was a pain in the butt. But I finished it. And it was hard getting through it without crying, but I didn't want to hire, Harrison Ford to do it. So, or my buddy.
Well, you have an incredible voice.
Well,
And I also
thank you.
wanted to say, it was very inspirational, and you just kind of opened up my mind. My mother-in-law just passed away, but I just wanted to look for a sign, and we started looking for signs.
Good. Ask her. Ask her, and then when you get the sign, okay, so ask, you receive, but then once you do it, you have to believe. So ask her for it, and then if you get it and she comes into your thought right at that moment, it's her. But you gotta believe it. You know, you can sit there all day long, and people can sit there and go, oh, it's butterflies, it's hummingbirds, they're everywhere. Well, yeah, but maybe not. Okay, I've yapped a long time here, people.
Hold on.
Okay.
You have a few more? You want to take
Yes,
another?
yes. I'm in San Diego. San Diego, but I'm telling you what, people, you live in paradise.
Come on back.
You live in paradise. I love it here. I have friends that generously let me stay with them and play music for me. And I went to Brophy's and went down to Hendry's Beach, and it's so great. When you cross over the county line, there's a smell, and then there's the vibe, and it's just absolute total paradise, man. I'm like, where was I going in 1990? Anyway, but San Diego's lovely, and I can come up here very quickly, so I'll just keep coming back. And it looks like I've got quite a few couches now.
Mark, quick question. Are you sure that smell wasn't Carpinteria?
Way different smell. Or Oxnard.
Are you willing to stay after for a few more questions? And what do you want to do with the books?
Well, if anyone wants to buy a book, they can buy a book. If you want to buy a book, I sell them, you know, they're $14.99 on Amazon. I got a bunch of fives with me because I'm not going to make you pay $20. So you can buy them right now, and I'll give you your change back if you want one, and that's fine. But don't feel obligated, honestly. And, or if you want one and don't have the money, I'll give it to you. I really will. You don't write to get rich, that's for sure.
And what about the other book?
Oh, this, we were supposed to have this. So I was asked to donate a chapter. This is called Gathering at the Doorway. And it's anthology of signs, visits, and messages from the afterlife. This is 40 authors. We all came together, we all donated chapters, and the gal that put this together, Camille Dan, generously sent Barbara from IANDS Santa Barbara a case of these. So if you buy this the next time at one of your meetings, and it's great, it's like 40 short stories, and I have a chapter in here, which is cool. But if you buy it, then all the proceeds go back to this group, which is really nice of Barbara. And I'll be giving her a donation as well.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I just want to appreciate so much what you're doing here. But before the final thank you, Barbara Bartolome is the one who put this together 10 years ago. She had a near-death experience in one of our local hospitals, was rejected, scorned. It was hard for her to pull through that. Her husband at the time was not supportive. And several years later, a friend said, I just read something so interesting about a near-death experience. And Barbara's ears perked up and said, what? What? You heard what? And then she heard much more about it. And then she started spreading the word of it. She was interviewed by a local magazine. It was a front page of the social section of the paper, at which she said, and I'm starting a group here in Santa Barbara to invite people to come so that they will get the support I didn't have, because so many people have unusual experiences, not just near death, but transformational experiences, and we need to support each other because they're real, and this is the future for all of us. In any event, Barbara's the one who pulled this together. We've been meeting for over 10 years now. And she has some support people that she wanted to recognize. Barbara's always thinking of thanking people. And so if you don't mind, I want to hand these out and then say goodbye to you. This is for Peter Wright. He leads the near-death experiences. Thank you, Peter. He's been with us the whole time. This is for Sandy. She helps set up the tables and the various handouts available, and the snacks, and his right hand for Barbara. This is for Marcia. Is Marcia here? Come right up here, Marcia. You didn't know. Thank you very much. And let's see. This one is for Claudia. This was one of the highlights for Claudia to find out she is part of setting up this group every time. Claudia's a nurse and sharing so much herself with all of us. And this one is for me. This one is for Jane. Is Jane here? No. Okay, one last present. This one is for you. Thank you so much for joining us. There's so many points of wisdom, so many great things you shared. How to be curious. Ask your questions. Keep asking. Expect your friends to be there. Assume they're there. Trust that they're there, and then look for the signs that they're there. And it's just marvelous. Peter?
Would you announce about looking for a place to hold these meetings?
Oh, that'll have to come later. We don't know yet.
I know, but just to say, if anyone knows of a place.
Okay, if anybody knows of a place where this group can meet, please let one of us know.
Yeah,
Thank you for a marvelous evening. This is so wonderful.
Thank you.
Appreciate you so much.